Hey guys, welcome back. Tori here from Overlook Horizon. We are here today for United Launch Alliance, the launch of the Atlas V rocket today, carrying the GOES-S satellite into geostationary orbit. Super excited for this. This is very much related to what we do here with weather balloons and things like that, because this is a weather satellite, weather observation satellite, and we are going to get right into it here. So if you'll see, if you haven't been to one of our live broadcasts before, we do have the ULA stream here up and running on the top. They just started just as the broadcast started here today. But they generally, ULA starts about 30 minutes before launch time. So we do have some time here before we get into launch, and we'll get into their broadcast, hear what they have to say, and start commenting on that here in just a moment. But for now, I want to kind of talk and go through what I've got here, at least for the launch, and then we'll jump over to see what they've got and see some of their materials and start getting into it there. But if you're here with us and you're hanging out, definitely say hi in the chat and the comments here, and we'll go through the whole thing here. See a whole bunch of people on YouTube following along. We got some Facebook viewers as well. So good to see everybody, and we're already getting the hashtag Space Lobsters. I love it. Already coming through. And this is pretty awesome here. So let's see. So Hawes Gaming, who's launching today? So this is the United Launch Alliance, or ULA. They're launching the Atlas V rocket, and on board is going to be the GOES-S weather observation satellites. Pretty big platform here. Previously, a couple months ago, they launched another one of these, the GOES 16 satellite. This one it's currently called the GOES-S platform is going to be GOES 17 when it actually goes operational, and will cover the western half of the United States and a little bit more beyond that as well. But it's going to be launching from Cape Canaveral in Florida. Living Meme says, is this launch going to be able to be seen from Orlando? I would imagine so. I'm not down there, but I imagine you'd be able to see this from Orlando, because it is launching from pad 41, I believe, at Cape Canaveral in Florida today. So let's see. So we have, so is this a NASA launch? Anyone know? Though this is a United Launch Alliance is the launch vehicle. It's launching, the payload is for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. And it's a pretty big deal from a satellite standpoint, because this is going to be one of the primary input methods for our weather forecast models. And the GOES 16 that's been up there is had fantastic imagery. If you haven't seen it already, we'll take a look at some of them today. But this one is going to replace GOES 15. That one's going to be decommissioned, and this will be GOES 17 that is going to go into operation here for the western half. So let's take a look. Let's see. Man, we got a ton of people commenting here already. Andrew Murphy, hiya. Good to see you, Andrew. Let's see. Can't wait for my Space Lobster t-shirt to come in the mail. Awesome. Looks like we got somebody got a Space Lobster t-shirt. I got mine here still. We do still have Space Lobster t-shirts. Dun, dun, dun. I got mine last week. They're still up there for a couple more days. We extended it out because we've had a whole bunch of people interested. So if you do want to get a Space Lobster t-shirt, there is a link in the description below. I think I'm using this new Nightbot thing on YouTube. I don't know how this works. The first time I've really used it. I think I can issue like a command and it might give you something, but I don't know. Maybe it'll respond. Maybe it won't. It's new to me. I just started this, so hopefully it doesn't spam the comments. Doesn't seem like it's doing it already, but it's yeah, it looks like, oh, Christopher Smith, I got my Space Lobster t-shirt yesterday. Awesome. That's good to hear. Everybody, see, now nobody's in on the joke except for our little group here, which is pretty awesome. So you walk around and people are going to be seeing this hashtag Space Lobster and be like, what is this Space Lobster? Anyways, so let's go into look at what we're launching here today. So the broadcast is going. I do want to switch over to that here in a minute here, but I want to at least get out what I wanted to try to get out quickly. Let's see. Let me switch over to this. Okay, so this has kind of been the mission logo for ULA here, and somebody mentioned on YouTube said ULA is Boeing and Lockheed Martin. Yeah, this satellite this was built by Lockheed Martin. I believe it was built by Lockheed Martin. But yeah, I know I don't know what the exact affiliation is, but I know there's definitely an affiliation with Lockheed Martin and ULA. I think I had heard that with Boeing as well too. So here's this is the kind of the mission logo. They don't really have a mission patch for ULA, but this has been the mission logo, which was kind of our thumbnail for the YouTube clip as well. But let's get to some more interesting stuff. So today's Atlas V rocket is launching in what's called a 541 configuration. And those numbers all mean something. The 5 being that the payload fairing is 5 meters in diameter. A little bit bigger than kind of the not typical. There's a lot of 5-meter payload fairings now, but another common one is a 4-meter payload fairing. So, but this is a 5-meter payload fairing. That's basically what what is protecting the satellites. The 4 in the configuration, meaning that we have 4 solid rocket boosters today. So it is a pretty powerful rocket, and it should be, because we're getting into this is eventually going to get to geostationary orbit, but the launch vehicle is just going to get it into geotransfer orbit, or geostationary transfer orbit first. We'll talk about that here in a second. And then the 1 in the 541 configuration is the 1 Centaur engine in the upper stage. So that's what we're talking about with the if you ever hear a 541 configuration, or the last ULA launch that we did that was from Vandenberg, I think that was a 511 configuration, because it only had 1 solid rocket booster. Still the same 5-meter payload fairing, 1 solid rocket booster, 1 Centaur engine. So it was a 511 configuration. This is a 541 configuration. So we got 4 solid rocket boosters today. And so that's kind of a breakdown of what this launch vehicle here looks like, as far as the breakout there. Let me see. Oh, we could take a nice look at what the actual launch vehicle. This was when it got hard down on the at the launch pad here. Nice little picture there, and we could take another look at it as well. I believe this was yesterday. Picture of it yesterday here. Let's see, and I got another one here. So one of the things that you'll see, let's see, yeah. So I see your comments coming in. I'm going to come back here in just a second. But so one of the things you'll see, especially with a weather observation satellite like this, is technically it's going to be in geostationary orbit. So geostationary orbit meaning that the satellite is basically going to stay right above a specific spot on the Earth, because the satellite is going to have the same orbital period as the Earth's rotational period. So the Earth rotates, the satellite rotates, goes with it, and it just stays above the same point on Earth. But this launch vehicle today is only going to take us to geostationary transfer orbit, and it'll be up to the payload provider to actually get itself into geostationary orbit. So generally what that means is you're going to get into this green geostationary transfer orbit, which is this highly elliptical orbit, and then the payload will be deployed, and then the actual payload itself will get itself into geostationary orbit over the next couple of weeks. So that's pretty typical. A lot of launch vehicles can get directly to geostationary orbit, but it can be expensive to do. And you generally have to lower the payload weight to do it. So not all launch vehicles can do, well, they definitely can't do the same weight to geostationary that they can do to geotransfer orbit. So that's kind of what we're talking about when we're looking at the orbit that it's going to be in today. And that's pretty common to see a satellite operator adjust the orbit after it's been deployed from the launch vehicle. So somebody said, your speech seems to be out of sync with your face cam. Well, that's unfortunate. I don't know how to fix that. It looks okay here on my end. I don't know, maybe that's it says my stream's in good health. I don't know, maybe my stream is all screwy. All right, well, hopefully that'll try to fix itself, but Snake XZVP says my speech is out of sync. Hopefully that's not too annoying and it will fix itself. But here, we could take a look at something that you won't see my face, so that you don't necessarily have to see about a 3-second delay. Really? I don't know why that would be. Is it my microphone? I'm gonna blow people's eardrums out by tapping the microphone. I don't know why that is. That would be unfortunate. Let's see, hold on. I might get some feedback here. Ralph, what do you mean by do you have the Space Lobster yet? The t-shirt or the Tesla? Well, we got the t-shirt, and if you haven't seen it already, we're launching later this year. The Space Lobster is going up on a weather balloon. This guy's going up on one of our flights in a couple of months here. We got it in already. But I don't know, this delay is really going to bother me if my speech is off, but that's all right. I can always just hide my face. You guys don't really want to look at me anyways, do you? But let's take a look here real quick before we switch over to the ULA broadcast. I'm looking at their countdown clock. Looks like they're still got 20 minutes, so we're on track for about a 5:02 p.m. Eastern Time launch. So hopefully everything will be on time today. We do have, I think it's a 2-hour window today to actually launch it. So they do have some time. It's not an instantaneous window. But let's see. So here's what I'm talking about, these geostationary orbits. So there's 2 GOES satellites. This second one here is going to replace one that's already up there. Just with some more sophisticated imagery, but you've got the Eastern satellite here. This is GOES East, or GOES 16. So if you ever see that, that's covering the eastern half of the U.S. and a little bit farther than that as well. And then the blue image here that you're seeing is going to be GOES West, or GOES 17. That's this satellite that we are launching today is going to be the blue portion that you're seeing on the screen. So GOES West is going to be here, showing the western half of the United States. And then we've also got, just to give you an idea on flight profile for today, hopefully you can see this all right. It's kind of blurry here on my screen, but geez. Coaster Musician 93. It's about a 1.5 second delay from when we hear you to when your lips move accordingly. Well, that's super annoying. Sorry about that. I don't know why that would be. I can always adjust that, but I don't know if I can do that on the fly live. I don't know if we can fix that. Well, maybe I'll just have to make myself really small so it doesn't make your minds go crazy while you're looking at me. Well, hopefully it's not too unbearable. That's going to really annoy me if that's the case, but all right. Okay, well, anyways, let's see. So this is our flight profile for today. I can't really read this. It's too small, and so I'm not, oh boy. Hold on. I got to pull it up here on my second screen because I can't, I thought I could read it with you here, but I'll just pull it up on my second screen so I can actually read it. So I don't know, I don't think we're going to, I hope they're not going to show the whole thing live. Just because it'd be a really long broadcast if it is. But you're looking at, basically, we're going to have, our liftoff. You're going to have payload fairing jettison, or SRB jettison first, about a little less than 2 minutes into the flight. Payload fairings coming off 3.5 minutes into the flight. The first stage booster engine is going to be cut off about just under 4.5 minutes into the flight. Then the upper stage is going to start around that 4.5 minutes. And then we got a series of burns from the upper stage. So they're doing 3 burns on the upper stage to get this into that geostationary transfer orbit. So we've got the first one being pretty much right away after separation. Then we have shutdown. They're going to start it up again 22 minutes into the flight, shut that down again, and then start it up again 3 hours and 28 minutes into the flight, and then shut it down again And then the actual satellite separation is not until 3 hours and 32 minutes into the flight. So this is a very long launch process here that's going to go for quite some time. So I don't know if we'll be live. I don't think we'll be live for that whole thing. I'm kind of going to base it off of what what these guys are going to do. But kind of hoping they don't go for the whole 3.5 hours, just because that would be a really long broadcast. So I don't know. Is this any better if I do this screen? Or is it maybe it's just the one screen that's off, or is this screen off too? Can't really tell. It looks fine on my end. But obviously if you guys are seeing it differently, that would be super annoying. So let's see. There was something else. Oh, what I did want to show. Let's see. I want to get to some of your comments here too, because I've seen a bunch of them come in. So, a lot of people talking about my speech being out of sync. Sorry, I don't know what to do about that. I mean, I would normally just restart my broadcast software here, but I can't really do that while I'm in the middle of a broadcast. So, hoping I can figure out how to. It's still off. John says it's off still. What the? I don't know how to fix that. It's probably my broadcast software having a fit. But I don't know how to fix that. I don't know what to do about that. All right. Well, oh, geez. All right. Well, we'll try to carry on and see what we can do. I don't know if there's well, actually, here, you know, well, let's switch over to this one. Let me try one more thing here. I'm going to switch over. This will be the full screen that I end up getting to for the broadcast. So I don't know if this is any better. I guess this is my last resort, and then I can always, in the broadcast software, I can manually put in worse. Oh, God. Oh, somebody says it's worse. Ah, great. Well, that's a shame. All right, you'll have to tell me. Is the audio, are you getting the audio first or are you getting the video first? Let's see. Somebody had said this already. I'm trying to go back through the comments. What, you're getting the audio first or the video first here? I don't know. I can't see it. I don't know where that was. Somebody told me what it was. They told me if it was audio first or video first. Well, that's unfortunate. I don't know what's causing that. Hopefully, I don't know. I wish I could resolve that. I don't know what to do about it. Audio first by about 2 seconds. Okay. Well, I can manually, like, I can do something like that, and then it delays it. It's like a 1.5 second delay on the audio. I don't know if that makes it any better, but that's me manually putting a delay on the audio. So we'll see if that's any better. You let me know. We can fine tune that. Let me see. Let me see if the well, let's turn the sound on for. Let's turn the sound on for the broadcast.
Gordon Meehan and Gene Forney. Gordon served our country in the United States Air Force, achieving the rank of technical sergeant.
Well, that's not going to help us. I need somebody. Need somebody on screen so that we can take a look at it. Herb says you're in a 50s style Japanese horror movie. Yeah, that's what I feel like right now. I wish I could. More than 1 second, somebody says. Okay, well, here, we can update it to 2 seconds. 2 seconds. We'll go 2 seconds. Try that. That would... That's a manual 2 second delay. Oh, God, so frustrating. Because then I'm not going to be able to show all these other things here. Oh, technology. I love it. I wonder... Is there anything I could do differently here? Oh, that's gonna drive me crazy. Wow, Now I'm trying to watch it here on my end, and it looks weird here on my end because now the audio is definitely delayed on my end. But I don't know. No, it was closer at 1 second, somebody said. Okay, well, I was at 1.5 before. So I can go back to 1.5. Here, there's 1.6 seconds. Oh, goodness. I love technology. So, anyways, yeah, so I've seen a couple things coming in here on the Twitter machine. We solved the delay by switching off AirPlay to regular YouTube. That was from Jill on Twitter. She says we solved the delay by switching off AirPlay to regular YouTube. I don't exactly know what that means. Try 1.3 says. Okay. There. Coaster Musician says try 1.3. There's 1.3 right there. See if that's any better. God, goodness, that's going to absolutely drive me crazy. And we've got about 10 minutes till launch. So I'll try to keep talking because there's definitely a delay from when I broadcast to when you see it. So it takes a second for you guys to comment every time I make a change. But anyways, so we should be, I haven't seen a countdown timer yet, but ULA should be in a planned hold right now. Generally, ULA's flight process is they get down to T-4 minutes and then they go into a planned hold, which is a really long hold, and they keep that right up until T-4 minutes. And it's the last built-in hold here. And then at the 4-minute mark, then they'll start the clock again. And oh, Andrew Murphy says better. There we go. There we go. All right. So hopefully that's a little better. Oh, God, the YouTubes are killing me today. It's going to drive me crazy. Well, hopefully this is better. Like we put in the much better, Jason Davidson says. So, all right. Well, we're at about a 1.3 second audio delay. Oh, I don't know why. But there we go. There's a 1.3 second audio delay. All right. Well, here, let me see if hopefully this isn't off. Let's see if this lady's
GOES spacecraft are poised to lift off at 5:02 p.m. Eastern from Space Launch Complex 41 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. Let's go now to Atlas Launch Control for an update. Mike and Josh.
Thank you, Tori, and welcome to those who are just joining our program for the live launch coverage of NOAA's GOES on an Atlas V rocket.
We have 8 minutes, 55 seconds before launch, and quickly let's get you up to speed. The Atlas V rocket on the launch pad at Space Launch Complex 41 is an Atlas V 541. It's one of the most powerful rockets in the Atlas fleet.
Is this in sync? Was that all right?
Where the spacecraft is protected during ascent. 4 solid rocket motors providing extra lift to get the rocket and spacecraft off the ground, and a single-engine upper stage. The protective fairing also covers the Centaur second stage on this configuration of the rocket.
Right now, we are inside of a planned 15-minute hold in the launch countdown. The T-clock has paused, but the launch team continues to work through the final checks ahead of liftoff.
The Atlas booster and Centaur liquid oxygen tanks are at flight levels. Centaur liquid hydrogen is also at flight level.
The United Launch Alliance launch conductor, Ed Kidda, briefed the launch team ahead of the terminal count. Within the terminal count, should a condition exceed a launch constraint, teams are to notify by saying hold, hold, hold.
The launch conductor has verified with the range controller that solar radiation is also acceptable for launch. As
I put the same 1.3 second delay on the NASA broadcast too.
Go. No weather constraints at this time, and upper level winds are also favorable. No technical issues are being worked at this time.
NOAA's GOES is on internal power. NASA launch manager Tim Dunn has polled his team. The Eastern Range has conducted its readiness polls. Launch conductor Ed Kidda has asked the NASA spacecraft coordinator to configure NOAA's GOES for launch, and launch director Tom Heater has conferred with mission managers for a go, no-go status. We're standing by for a final status check with all launch disciplines.
We're 7 minutes, 13 seconds away from launch. Launch conductor Ed Kidda will conduct a status check to continue the launch count and come out of our T-4 minute hold.
All right, well, they stopped talking there for a minute. Let me mute that there. Oh, this is killing me. Well, I put, so Coaster Musician says again that, oh boy, and I wonder if Facebook is the same. I haven't, it must be a Facebook thing. This is going to be, Well, this is going to be annoying. I don't know what to do here because the people on Facebook are saying that now it was fine until I changed it. And apparently it's just the YouTube one that's got the delay. Well, sorry, peeps. I don't know. This is super annoying. Apparently, YouTube is having a fit and having a delay. And if I change it in my software, it screws up the Facebook broadcast. So, oh boy. I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's a hashtag space lobster fail. Okay, well, I guess we're just going to push through this the best we can. I don't know what to do about that. I guess if you're watching on Facebook, I'm gonna sacrifice this Facebook one and say go check it out on YouTube. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand it. Well. Anyways, so we're coming up here on launch. It's got me completely derailed now. Carrie Jacobs says no, really, it's not. She says not relax. I'm stressed. It's bothering me. Okay, well, let's listen in and see what coaster music is the opposite. Your camera is not in sync. Okay, maybe it's the camera that's, yeah, that could be it. Could be the camera that's not in sync. Maybe that's what the problem is. I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. I tried. Well, we'll keep the NASA broadcast, I guess, in sync. Yeah, it's all right. We're gonna go back to content. Somebody says just
on my mark.
The audio
time
delay's
will be
fine.
T-minus 4 minutes and counting.
4.
All right, so we're about to come out of the 4-minute hold here.
1. And we are at T-minus 4 minutes and counting.
After launch, we'll be hearing the voice of United Launch Alliance's Marty Malinowski providing a status of the flight of the Atlas V and NOAA's GOES-S.
At launch minus 2 minutes, the Atlas and Centaur power will be internal.
I really like this 5-meter payload fairing because it looks huge on top
Ground
of this rocket.
pyros have been enabled.
It looks very top-heavy.
Liquid oxygen securing and liquid oxygen topping are underway.
One of the things that's a little bit different about ULA versus like SpaceX,
Atlas tanks will be pressurized to flight pressure at T-minus 3 minutes.
The ULA first stage, just like SpaceX, uses RP1, which is a kerosene fuel.
Shortly thereafter, the flight termination system will go internal.
The upper stage for the Atlas V rocket is liquid hydrogen instead of RP1. Usually a little better.
FTS internal.
It's a little harder to work with, but it's a little bit better for deep space missions. You don't have to worry about fuel freezing or not being able to start again. So the liquid hydrogen, they both have pros and cons, but the upper
Following
stage
Atlas
here
and
is liquid
Centaur power
hydrogen
to internal at T-minus 2 minutes, the ground launch sequencer will command the launch sequencer to start at T-minus 1 minute 55 seconds.
All right, we're coming down to it. We should be about 2 minutes away here from launch now.
T-minus 2 minutes 14 seconds and counting.
And once it goes up, depending on how much they cover afterwards, we can talk some more too about the launch. And of course, we'll talk about how it went.
155.
Launch sequencer start.
Hopefully everything goes well.
And the Atlas and Centaur power is now internal.
Centaur LH2.
Securing Centaur LH2.
The flight termination system will be armed at T-minus 1 minute 37 seconds.
7.
FTS armed.
We are 1 minute, 30 seconds to launch.
The environmental control system will be reduced for launch at T-minus 1 minute, 15 seconds.
1 minute, 20 seconds.
OCU's armed.
FCS count started.
115.
Reduce ECS for launch. Roger.
110.
Vent valves locked.
The vent valves are closed on the Centaur, liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen vent.
T-minus 1 minute.
Rock report range status.
Range green.
Range operations controller reports
Looking
range
good.
green. Everything is go. T-minus 51 seconds and counting.
T-minus 40
We're looking
seconds.
good here.
Stable at step 3.
Closing in on 30 seconds before launch. 3 seconds before launch, the powerful RD-180 engine will ignite.
Roger.
25.
Status check.
Go Atlas.
Go Centaur. Go.
Everything is go. T-minus 15 seconds and counting.
Somebody picked up the other phone.
9,
That was.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And liftoff of the Atlas V and NOAA's GOES, a highly sophisticated weather
There we
watching
go.
eye in the sky, to join its twin in providing better forecasts and saving lives.
Atlas has begun a pitch and yaw maneuver to steer to its planned path, an azimuth of 100.7 degrees.
At 35 seconds, the rocket carrying GOES will reach Mach 1, traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Down, right on schedule. Signatures look good. Roll program is complete. The speed chamber pressures are rolling off as expected.
At 47 seconds after launch, the vehicle will pass through the area of maximum dynamic pressure, or max Q.
Max Q.
This is the point when mechanical stress on the rocket reaches its peak because of the rocket's velocity and the resistance created by the Earth's atmosphere.
Booster has throttled up as expected.
You are also hearing the voice of United Launch Alliance flight commentator Marty Malinowski.
SRB chamber pressures continue to look
Where
good.
did that guy go?
Plateaued.
And no
At
clock
1 minute,
here,
50
so I
seconds
don't
into
know
flight,
when
the first 2 solid
separation
rocket
is.
boosters will be jettisoned, followed about a second and a half later
Up an SRB
by
burnout.
other boosters.
And we have indication of
So you
SRB
got some-
burnout.
SRB burnout.
Booster engine continues to perform well. Approximately 10
Separation,
seconds to
maybe?
SRB jettison. And we have indication of 4 solids jettisoning. Looks like a clean separation.
There we go. We can
And
see
a
him
clean
now.
separation
Looks like
being
good
reported
separation.
of the solid rocket boosters.
Vehicle
We are
has
2
begun
minutes,
closed
4 seconds into
steering.
flight.
The next major milestone, 3 minutes, 30 seconds into flight, the payload fairing protecting GOES during its flight through the atmosphere will be jettisoned 3.5 minutes after launch.
Was it just me, or did that thing look like it just jumped off the pad? It looked super fast to me. Like it, I don't know, it
Booster
seemed
has
like the
throttled down as
liftoff
expected.
itself.
Up on the
Seemed like the
RCS
liftoff
pyro
itself
valve
was
activation.
really fast. Yeah, somebody. Denise says SpaceX launch coverage is 1,000,000 times better. Yeah, SpaceX does do a better job of actually covering the launches
We have
themselves.
the
Seem to have better
RCS pyro
content.
valve activation at this point. The system is pressurizing to flight levels. Signatures look good.
The commentators seem to do a better job of actually talking about it.
3 minutes into the flight.
So, and then we go to this.
Booster
They
has
usually do
throttled
this
back.
animation
2.5
here.
Gs. Preparation for payload for jettison.
So they do this pretty frequently. They do this animation here. This is, just in case you were fooled, not a live picture.
10 seconds away from payload fairing jettison.
Up on payload for jettison momentarily.
I don't know. I don't think they usually don't have cameras on board.
And we have good payload fairing separation
jettison
and CFLR jettison.
And we have a good payload fairing jettison, exposing GOES-S to space for the first time.
Signatures look good.
Pity, Snake XZVP says
We are
pity they don't
approaching
put
4
cameras on.
minutes
I agree.
into flight.
And booster has begun to throttle to 4.6 Gs in preparation for pico. Boost phase cooldown is underway. Logo pyro valve has been fired.
The call BECO stands for Booster Engine Cutoff. That will happen at 4 minutes 22 seconds into flight.
Boost phase chill down is complete.
And Jason says, I thought so too. Quicker
And we
lift
have
off than
pico.
usual. It just
Shutdown looks good.
seems
6
like it
seconds
jumped
after
off the
BECO,
pad.
the Centaur second engine,
Yeah.
or
there
second
we go.
stage will separate from the Atlas booster.
The RL-10 engine. GN2 purge firing. The RCS is underway. We have ignition and full thrust on the RL-10.
And the Centaur single engine RL-10C engine ignites for the first time. It produces 22,900 pounds of thrust.
Oh, there we go. We got a camera of the engine at least
Our
when
steering
the
has
booster
been
separation
enabled.
occurred.
Body rates look good.
This is about a 7.5 minute burn of the Centaur
Our PU
RL-10C engine.
as expected.
Well, this part could be a little bit long. We might have to start
Engine
talking
cut off.
about
Planned for about 7
chat
minutes
about it
from
here in
now.
a minute. Yeah, so the
This
SpaceX...
is the first of 3 burns of the Centaur main engine.
Just continue to warm towards bottle temperatures. Signatures look good.
All right, I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. So,
Range track.
yes, SpaceX does a little bit better job of actually commentating on it. They seem to have some content ready to go for the launch. This one not so much. I got to take
Listening
them
to
out
the
of my
voice
ear
of
here because
United Launch Alliance flight commentator Marty Malinowski.
actually here we can do this. Just mute that right there. Yeah, so they seem to SpaceX seems to do a better job of the actual launch broadcast itself, which I think ULA's they're missing the boat a little bit on there. You know, you can generate some excitement here about space, and put a little more time into the broadcast. I don't know. Although I'm one to speak, considering my audio is all screwed up for today, so who knows? Anyway, so now we're in this first burn here is going to be about it's about 7 minutes long. So it is going to be a little bit of time, but it's a lot of time until we actually get the actual GOES deployment. But good to see it got off the pad. It seemed really fast to me. It just seemed like I don't know, the clip, we can probably back this up and then we can go back to live here in just a second. But I don't know, this just seemed really interesting to me when I was when I watched the launch. It just seemed like it got off the pad really fast. It just seemed to like fly off the pad here. So this is a replay here now. And they switched this beach view. I don't know why they got rid of the clock, but it was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I don't know, just watch it come off the pad. Just seems really fast. And I got the sound down just so I can talk over it. But here's the ignition, and then the liftoff, and right here, just I don't know. Look how fast that got up off the pad. Just seemed like a good jump. I don't know. It just seemed it looked a lot more like a ballistic missile coming off the pad than an actual space launch vehicle. I don't know. I'm just used to seeing the space launch vehicles kind of gradually get up, build up their thrust and well, I don't even know if it's gradually build up the thrust, but gradually build up their speed. But it just seemed like it jumped off the pad a lot faster than I recall seeing it before. So we can jump back to live, see their animation again. Anyway, so how quickly does Space Lobster cook under that heat lamp? What heat lamp are you talking about? We should cook some space lobster here. Now, I mean, we've done so much talking about the lobster. I'm going to have some lobster at some point here in the future after all this talk. But we're going to have to wait probably for summertime for that. Anyways, faster than Falcon Heavy, that's for sure. I love that the space lobster is still going strong. And the best part about the whole space lobster thing is nobody has a clue what they're talking about. I was reading online on Twitter the other day. A lot of people I saw a bunch of space lobster hashtags that were out there, and somebody said that Elon Musk had nicknamed the Tesla Roadster the space lobster, and that's why space lobster was a thing, because Elon Musk nicknamed the Tesla Roadster the space lobster. I don't think that's the case. I think that came from us, but somebody tried to claim credit for it. So. But anyways, are you saying it launched off the pad? Yeah, I guess it launched off the pad. It's probably what it's supposed to do, right? I don't know. It just seemed quick to me. It seemed faster than usual. Well, I'm afraid to show any of these. Other graphics just because the audio is going to be all screwed up, but. But anyways, we'll have to see. Well, here. Oh, we could switch to this because this doesn't show my face. While they're showing here, I'm gonna switch over to this real quick. And one thing. Oh, it copied my audio delay. Oh, that's good. So maybe I can switch around here, and it'll keep my audio delay intact. But anyways, I guess one of the things I thought was kind of interesting, I can probably make this a little bit bigger, but I thought it was interesting that they showed for this flight in particular the, and maybe this is just a ULA thing, I don't know if they do this pretty frequently, but they're kind of showing the orbital path, which is on the right-hand side there. So that was kind of interesting. A lot of times people don't understand the orbital path, and they kind of think that the rocket just goes up and goes right into a circular orbit. That's usually not the case. A lot of maneuvers to get into a circular orbit. So that was kind of interesting that they show that orbital path there on the right, although then they have this, the flight profile, which doesn't necessarily seem to be accurate, not necessarily to scale, but they at least, they're kind of showing you what's going on there. But anyway, so I thought that was kind of interesting. Let me switch back to... switch back to here. Herb says, it was we. It was mostly you guys that got the space lobster thing started. I just screwed up. You guys took off from there. We are all members of the hashtag Space Lobster Tribe, says Carrie on Facebook. Yeah, I know. We got our own little group going here, and like I'm super excited to actually launch the Space Lobster on one of our weather balloons, because we're always looking for, I don't know, we launched, I forgot to bring him again, but we launched a little referee to space on one of our flights a couple of years ago, and then we were going to launch something else last year. We never got around to it, but we're always looking for something to do, and now that I can launch a space lobster, this is going to be awesome. I am so pumped to see this lobster with the backdrop of the space behind it, black sky, curvature of the Earth, way up at 100,000 feet. That's going to be pretty exciting. I'm pretty pumped for that. Hopefully you guys follow along with that. Question, did Falcon 9's payload caught by the crazy boat trying to intercept its landing? So Jason's talking about the last Falcon 9 launch. They were trying to recover the payload fairing after re-entry. They did not successfully catch it. They did recover it. So it sounds like the parachute system worked and got it to come down. They didn't catch it with the boat. They missed it, according to Elon, they missed it by a couple 100 meters. So it's pretty close. And there were some pictures. I posted it on our Twitter page. I'm sure I could probably grab it. But yeah, they were supposed to catch the payload fairing. This thing comes down in a parachute. And then it's supposed to have the Mr. Steven boat basically there to catch the thing. And they said they almost got it. They just missed by a couple hundred meters, they said. So pretty close. kind of crazy to me. I really want to see video of that. I'm surprised, two things. One, I'm surprised that they have no video footage of the payload fairing recovery, because I really want to see that. And two, I'm still surprised that they have not put out video of the center core, which started the whole Space Lobster deal. But the center core from Falcon Heavy, they didn't put out any video of this thing landing at 300 miles per hour into the ocean. I thought for sure that they'd have some sort of video that they'd share with us, but apparently not. I don't know why. So, I'm not sure. Let's see. Jill says, we still love you at OLHCN on Twitter. Hashtag Space Lobster Fail. Yes, thank you. Hashtag Space Lobster Fail. Yeah, the Space Lobster broadcast is not doing so well today. I apologize about that. I don't know what happened. It sounds like maybe it's my camera that's having a fit. I don't know. It's killing me. Denise, RIP Center Core. Yep, we missed the Center Core. Let's see what these guys are saying. Let's listen in for a moment here.
And tell us a little bit about how this launch is going so far.
Well, so far it is going almost perfectly. The count was very quiet today. In fact, probably the quietest count that I've been through. Actually, from a personal note, the only real big excitement for me was the birth of my fourth grandson this afternoon at T-minus 3 hours and 30 minutes.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, so that's exciting for me. But the count was very quiet, and so far met all the milestones. Everything is looking good.
And so far for this year for United Launch Alliance, this is your third launch in 2018.
It is our third launch, and it's a great year. It's a big, busy year for NASA, and we've got a lot of interesting missions working with NASA. The GOES mission, of course, is our third mission this year, as you said, and we've at United Launch Alliance actually launched every GOES mission that has ever launched since 1975. So it's very exciting. We're in the middle of a 3-minute the first coast now. We'll go into a 5-minute burn after that, and then we'll go into a 3-hour coast where we put GOES into the geostationary transfer orbit. Some fun facts. As we finish this second burn, the vehicle will be traveling about 22,000 miles per hour. To put that in perspective, that would be about 7.5 minutes coast to coast from LA to New York. So it's moving pretty quickly. And at liftoff, the vehicle weighed about 1.2 million pounds. We have about 2.25 million pounds of thrust that gets the vehicle going. And as I said, we're excited to be part of the GOES mission. It's a great mission for the nation, and helps a lot of people with improved weather predictions.
And so after GOES is in its orbit, what's next for United Launch Alliance?
So as I mentioned, we've got a very busy year with NASA. Coming up in May, we've got the InSight mission, which will be the first Mars mission to ever launch from the West Coast. So that's an exciting activity. Followed on in July 31st with Parker Solar Probe mission that will touch the sun. And then finally we'll end out our year with NASA with our last and final Delta II mission, the ISAT mission out of Vandenberg in September. So it's a busy year for us and a lot of excitement coming up.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today, and congratulations on launch so far, and also your other news.
Yes,
good to
thank
hear.
you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being with us.
All right, thank you.
All right, well, we can comment here. So I don't know what it is about ULA's broadcast, but we had mentioned this before. But this doesn't seem like it draws you in, and not a lot of excitement going on with their webcast here. But you know, they're not necessarily an entertainment company, but I do think it's important to try to build some entertainment around, or yeah, entertainment. Sure, that's I'll go with that. I think it is important to build some entertainment or some excitement into this to get people really on board with the whole thing. I don't know, for some reason ULA's broadcast just doesn't really do it for me. So anyway, somebody said payload's almost over Africa, quick transatlantic flight. Yeah, I know, that'd be crazy. That's what the BFR is trying to do. They're going to try to launch you do earth to earth flights. with SpaceX's BFR. That'd be cool to see, huh? Let's see. Wow, I see. Thanks. You're telling me they never had a camera on board the Stevenson boat, Mr. Steven boat. But I think they had, like, I'm sure somebody's got a camera. They just didn't show them to anybody. You know, I do have pictures from it that Elon tweeted out from Mr. Steven. But no, I've not seen video footage from Mr. Steven yet. Nothing at all. Punto de Vista says, when the booster lands, when's the booster going to land? Well, this is ULA. ULA doesn't land their boosters. At least not yet, kind of. ULA is working on the Vulcan rocket, which is their next big heavy lift vehicle. The Vulcan rocket is supposed to use this SMART system. I forget what it's an acronym. I forget what it stands for. But the SMART system, basically, they're going to detach these solid rocket boosters, parachute them, and then the idea is while they're parachuting, they're going to have a helicopter come by and grab the boosters while they're under parachute. So they're not going to actively land the boosters. I don't exactly understand that. Seems to me like we should be able to we should be at the point now where we can land boosters. I don't know. I guess maybe that that Vulcan smart system will be all right. I think the ultimate thing is, as long as it's recoverable, inexpensive, and can be quickly refurbished for another flight, then, you know, that's the ultimate goal. I guess whether you actually land it or catch it with a helicopter or with a parachute, something or another, then if that works, then great, fantastic. But Denise says seems risky. Yeah, it definitely seems risky to me as well. I don't know. I guess, you know, there's presumably a lot that goes into landing a booster, you know, software-wise, sensors, hardware, all this kind of stuff. You know, I guess they felt that it would be maybe easier and less expensive to just to grab it instead of trying to land it. I don't know. Yeah, it seems risky to me. Doesn't seem to inspire the same wow factor that SpaceX gives us when they see those boosters land. I mean, I think that's half the excitement for me when I watch a SpaceX launch. Is like you see the thing, you see the vehicle go off the launch pad, but then you get a second reverse launch, the landing part. You know, you got these boosters coming back, and whether they land on land or out on the ship, it's fantastic. I think that's just a huge wow factor and just gets people excited about space. So, anyways, it would be a disservice to the fine ship and its crew. Oh, my apologies, Mr. Stevenson. I think it's just Mr. Steven, not Stevenson. Not to be nitpicky, but definitely the Mr. You got to get the Mr. We don't want to be disrespectful to the ship, though, right? Let's see. What my phone's blowing up here from. Just we get some comments on Twitter about the launch and updates. Let's see. 20 minutes since launch. Tori Bruno is the he's the CEO, right, of ULA. Yeah, CEO of ULA says first burn's complete, all systems nominal, coasting to the transfer burn. So we got a lot of time before that happens. I don't know if they're going to keep showing it, but we'll hang out for a bit. Let's see, Elon's doing it right. How can ULA still get launches with their helicopter tech? Well, they don't. The helicopter tech is actually that's the futuristic part of there. That's not even here yet. The helicopter tech is the one for their planned Vulcan rocket. That's not even supposed to launch until like 2020 or. Elon kind of put out a little snarky challenge. Said if they could launch, if they get a like a national defense launch before 2023, Elon said he would eat his hat. So Elon seems to think they're not going to launch that Vulcan rocket for at least any national security payloads until at least 2023. And the importance of the national security payloads, you know, generally if they're for national security, they're going to get NASA's going to they want to see evidence that your flight has some chance of succeeding before they're going to put expensive national security payloads on board. So, yeah, Elon seems to think that's not going to happen until at least 2023. So yeah, the helicopter tech is that's the futuristic tech for ULA. So I'm not sure how they're gonna accomplish that or speed it up at all. But let's see, Jason, I'll get there eventually. Yeah, we'll get this right. We're just gonna have a one-on-one session with the Mr. Steven, the semantics of the Mr. Steven Bowl. Let's see, Jason, what's your expectation of possible future launches from superplanes like they're test flying now? I don't know. I seem to think, I don't know, I'm torn on the superplane stuff. It seems to me like I forget, what's the one, yeah, we've got the BFR, which is going to be kind of this recoverable shuttle system. That's not really like a plane, though. There's another one, can't remember what it's called, but another company that's developing like the plane thing, whatever. God, I can't remember what it's called. But it looks a lot like the shuttle, you know, space plane looking thing. I'm always a little bit torn on that because I don't know. I like the idea of it, and it seems cool to be able to recover a space plane, but those space planes seem to have, to me, they seem to have an inherent higher risk factor just because specifically like the heat shield for those is exposed during the launch. Now, I think the planned Pegasus XL, Jason said, is that the one I'm thinking of? Now I gotta look at it. Pegasus XL, is that the one I'm thinking of? Oh, that wasn't the one I was thinking of, but that's another one. Yeah, that was not the one I'm thinking of. The one I'm thinking of was, let's see if I can find it here now. What's the one I was thinking of? There's a shuttle. There's... Well, now I can't find it. Was it this one? We got the Air Force's X-37B. That's not the one I was thinking of either, but that's that was that mysterious space plane that that the Air Force has launched a couple times and really hasn't said much about. That's kind of curious. I don't know what the one I'm thinking of is, but I don't know. I'll have to look around for it. But I don't know, if they could, to me, well, whatever they can do to get something that's inexpensive, reusable, and those kind of go hand in hand. If it's going to be inexpensive, it really has to be reusable. But inexpensive, reusable, fast turnaround. You look at SpaceX. So I don't remember who the guy was, but just this week, SpaceX said that they were planning 30 launches this year of SpaceX Falcon. Well, I think it's both Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy, but they're planning 30 launches this year. That's a huge number, considering that last year, SpaceX did 18 launches, and the year before, I think they did 12. So they're really ramping up. They're trying to shoot for like double what they've been doing, or just what they did last year. Almost 3 times what they did 2 years ago. So SpaceX is really bringing this reusability factor to the max here, and to do 30 launches in the period of a year. I mean, that's more than once every 2 weeks. So they're really got some high turnover quick turnarounds to get these rockets launching, which I think is awesome. You know, if you can bring that cost down, you can make space more accessible. It's gonna allow us to put more satellites into orbit. It's gonna allow us to, by being able to put those satellites into orbit, you can start expanding technology and services that are available. It'll start to become less expensive, so more, smaller companies that have ideas will be able to put satellites into orbit, and then from there we can start moving on to the big stuff, going to back to the moon, going to Mars, all kinds of crazy, exciting things like that. I'm pumped for that. So, what happened? Let's see. Slingatron is also a thing now. Slingatron. I don't know. Have I heard of Slingatron? What is Slingatron? I don't know what Slingatron is. I've never heard of this. I don't know what that is. Slingatron's vision is to launch payloads into orbit. Really? I have not seen this thing. This looks like a giant roller coaster that's just gonna fire something into orbit. I don't know what this is. Hypervelocity mass accelerator? Wow, that seems kind of crazy. The Slingatron is a mechanical hypervelocity mass accelerator. That seems crazy. I'm going to have to look into this because that seems nuts. I don't know how that's going to work, but all right. It looks like, here, I can show you what I'm looking at here in case you want to see. Where's my, oh, there we go. Yeah, so that's what I was like. Is this what we're talking about? The Slingatron? Is it this thing here? Oh, no, I can't. Can't look at your comments and show that on the same screen. So I guess I'll show this, and then I'll go back to my comments so I can read them. But I guess that's what I'm looking at for the Slingatron, this crazy-looking roller coaster thing that's going to just launch something into space, apparently. Cool. Let's see. Sure, they're trying to catch the Virgin Galactic stuff. I haven't heard much about Virgin Galactic recently. Interesting how SpaceX hasn't said much about Virgin Galactic. When is my turn on it? Virgin is landing their space plane right. Virgin Galactic is irrelevant. Slingatron's a crazy idea. Slingatron uses magnets to help lift off with a whole bunch of question marks. Yeah, that's kind of what I got out of it. Was Slingatron's going to somehow use magnets to launch, help with launch, or maybe I don't know. Maybe they launch it first with the magnets and then kick in a rocket motor to actually stabilize the orbit. I don't know. That seems nuts. Kind of cool. I guess I'm for whatever. It seems that seems really risky. Like you just throw half a rocket on a giant magnet track. You're gonna launch it, halfway to space, and then turn a rocket on to. Ooh, okay, I would love to see that. Virgin Galactic. I don't know what's going on with Virgin Galactic. Anybody know what's going on with Virgin Galactic? I haven't heard much of them in a long time. What's the latest from Virgin Galactic? I have not. They were pivoting to smaller sat launcher developments in 2015. I don't know what the current status is with Virgin Galactic. Following the crash of VSS Enterprise, test flights of the replacement spaceship VSS Unity were set to begin after ground tests completed in August 2016. Completed its first successful glide test December 2016. By January 2018, 7 glide tests had been completed. All right, so I guess they're still going with their the spaceship 2 there, the Unity ship, and that's this guy here, right? Still going strong with that, apparently. But I haven't heard much of them recently. I don't know if they're still really in the hunt for for like big time space launch vehicles or launch exploration. It may be small satellites and space tourism that they're looking to get into a little more. Let's see. Somehow throws back to the Slingatron. Somehow throws a payload from the ground at high velocity. Scott Manley has a video. Oh, okay. So Scott Manley has a video on the Slingatron. I'll have to look that up. Because I have heard nothing about the Slingatron. We'll have to see what Scott Manley has to say about the Slingatron. They say they will do something this year, but they've said the same. They've said that every year. David says they're 6 months away. Are we talking about Virgin Galactic now? 6 months away? How are ULA still getting customers when SpaceX can launch much cheaper? ULA still, they've got a very reliable platform. SpaceX is still since they're still developing their platform, you know, generally like NASA and some of the government entities, they require the launch provider to have so many successful flights on a stable, locked platform that doesn't change before they put their payloads on it. And so the Atlas V and the Delta platform, they're very stable platforms that are really unchanged for quite a while. So SpaceX, the Block 5 stuff coming out from SpaceX, I believe that NASA is requiring the SpaceX Block 5 to be a locked platform, meaning they're not going to make any changes to it, you know, other than like fixes if there's a problem with it. But they've got to lock the platform so that they're not making upgrades to it, so that they can have, basically NASA can establish a baseline and say this is going to be a reliable launch vehicle. Aircraft carriers and elevators are starting to use magnets. It's interesting technology, that Slingatron thing. I'd love to see that, how that's going to work. For hopping around, rich guys in low orbit, quite pointless space tourism. Yeah, so yeah, the Virgin Galactic, I guess maybe that's what they're going to focus on. David says they've been 6 months away since 2012. Oh, that tends to happen with space. I think things get delayed, but Elon's fixated in going to Mars. Jeff Bezos and myself are interested in how to use space to benefit the Earth, because Earth is, in my opinion, extremely beautiful and needs to be protected. So I'm assuming that's like a quote. Oh yeah, it says from Richard Branson. So I guess he's pulling out he's saying that Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic are more interested in how to benefit the Earth, and Elon is just fixated in going to Mars. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I think as a civilization, we got to branch out and continue exploring, and you know, keep trying to reach as far as we can. You know, at some point, we're gonna run out of room or run out of resources, and who knows what we can start pulling in from other planets or other, you know, whether it's a lunar base or Mars colonies or. I read just the other day, I think it was one of Saturn's moons that's got more natural gas than we have on Earth or something like that. I don't even know, but you got all kinds of resources out there that we can expand to. So anyways, let's see. There's so many things wrong with that statement. I don't know where to start. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that statement from, if that's truly a statement from Richard Branson. I don't know if I entirely agree with that. You can review Contact, the movie. Jodie Foster's craft was caught in a net. I think that was a little different. Wasn't Contact? Contact was just, isn't that the movie where they dropped the capsule through the spinning rings? And is that the right movie I'm thinking of? That's what Carrie said on Facebook. I assume it's talking about the Mr. Steven boat catching from a net. So anyways, well, I guess sounds like they're showing a replay here. Sorry that I didn't keep the volume on for the broadcast. It was so dry. I just had to move on from that. And there's nothing. Let's see if there's nothing now. It's just NASA TV now, just replaying it over and over. So I guess we're going to keep it on mute. I still think a lunar base needs to come first. They could use it as a staging ground for so many missions. Yeah, I think there's so much that we could use a lunar base for as well. I don't know. I think it would be great for exploration and just trying to keep the innovation going forward. I mean, there's so much technology that we've. See, the problem I have with Richard Branson's statement, you know, if that's really Richard Branson's statement here, which according to Punto de Vista, he says, sorry, I have to put on a funny accent when I say that name. It's no offense to you. It seems like it needs the accent when I say it. Says, so the quote he gave me says it's from Richard Branson. Says, quote, Elon is fixated on going to Mars. Jeff Bezos and myself are interested in how to use space to benefit Earth, because Earth is, in my opinion, extremely beautiful and needs to be protected, end quote. See, the problem I have with that is we got so much technology here on Earth from exploration that, I mean, any exploration, even if you're going to Mars and setting up a Mars colony, Earth is going to get a benefit from that because the technology that we have to develop to be able to do that is going to be hugely beneficial to who knows what areas down here on the Earth. So, I mean, I think they go hand in hand, you know, Mars colonies and benefits to Earth. I don't think it's one or the other. So, isn't the moon supposed to have all this extremely valuable and useful H3? Yeah, I've heard of stuff like that before. I don't know that for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's resources on the moon that we could potentially benefit from. The future's in the sky, as we say in Turkey. Yeah, I agree. A video from YouTube called Virgin Group founder Richard Branson, Elon Musk is absolutely fixated on going to Mars from CNBC. I can't add the link. Oh, okay, yeah, so that's the source of the quote. Yeah, so we can, yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that statement, but anyways. Not your statement, punto de vista. I don't agree with Richard Branson's statement. I don't think it's either or. I don't know. That's just the way I feel. Oh, man. All right. Well, let's see. I guess they're going to end... what are we doing? Replays? They're just doing some replays. Oh, this is not even the... Is this the same flight? This doesn't look like the same flight. Is it the same flight? Looks like a different flight, but maybe it's the same flight. Different camera angle, different lighting. All right. I guess I could...
Forecasts and saving lives.
I guess I could turn on the sound.
Atlas has begun a pitch and yaw maneuver to steer to its planned path, an azimuth of 100.7 degrees.
At 35 seconds, the rocket carrying GOES S will reach Mach 1, traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Down, right on schedule. Signatures look good.
And that's it. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I suppose, let's see. Apparently save the Earth means fat stacks of cash for Branson and Bezos. Have you seen the reaction of Neil deGrasse to the Falcon Heavy? Nice Italian accent, Daniel says. Punto de vista. I love the name. I gotta. Man, I'm sorry to go into that for your name, but I just see the name. I feel like it needs an accent to go along with it. I like when NASA TV shows all the different camera angles from the launch. Yeah, that is one nice thing. They do have a whole bunch of different camera angles. I got rid of the audio because they're not really saying much, just playing the same thing over and over again. But we can have it on the screen while I talk over. Have you seen the reaction of Neil deGrasse to the Falcon Heavy? I saw him talking about Falcon Heavy. I don't remember if I saw a reaction to it, or if it does, it doesn't stand out in my memory. I definitely remember hearing him talk about it, but I guess now I can't remember if I heard him talking about it before or after the launch. So I'm not sure. If you have a reaction from Neil deGrasse Tyson, which comes first? Send it to me on Twitter at OLHCN. I would like to see it, even if I saw it again. I'll watch it again because I don't remember seeing his reaction. I remember seeing him talk about Falcon Heavy, but I don't know if I saw his reaction to Falcon Heavy. I'm assuming it's something good if you're asking me about it. So if you have it, send it to me on Twitter. Let's see. Punto de vista, no problem. I'm having fun with it, with the name. So I don't mean to make fun of it. I'm not making fun of the name at all by any means. I just kind of making fun of myself for having to throw in an accent in order to be able to say it. Collect cash from space tourism is okay if that money is used to explore the solar system later. Yeah, I think if you're collecting cash from space tourism, I'm okay if it's used to explore the solar system, or if it's used to further technological advances. I mean, space tourism, although I would love to go to space, seems kind of cool. I don't know if just having space tourism for the sake of space tourism really needs to be a thing. I think there's a market for it. There's a lot of people that would probably like to go to space. I would love to send a couple people to space. I don't want to get myself in trouble by specifying who, but I think there's a market for it, but unless they get it down to something inexpensive, I don't even know. But I do think if you have that space tourism, you could have either the money you make from it you spend on space exploration in addition to it, or technological advances. As long as they're doing one of those and somehow advancing our knowledge base here on the Earth about technology and space and things like that, then fantastic. But if they're just doing like suborbital flights and they're going up and coming back down and they're not really doing much in the realm of awesome technology, then I don't necessarily see, I don't know, I don't see the point. I might do it. That'd be fun. But I don't know if I see the point to that. That's just me. Deborah Shea says hello. Hello, Deborah. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Let's see. What else do we have to chat about? Oh, so he sent me the video, Neil deGrasse Tyson, why a colony on Mars is unlikely to happen. It's quite annoying and it's an hour long. I like Neil deGrasse Tyson, so it would surprise me, I guess, if he doesn't think a colony on Mars is likely to happen. Maybe unlikely to happen anytime soon. I don't know. I mean, I think we're decades off before we get to a colony on Mars, but I don't know if that's going to be something that we just drop. I feel like maybe we might continue on with that at some point. I don't know. NDT, Neil deGrasse Tyson also said SpaceX would fail. He may be smart, but predicting the future isn't his strong point. Huh, that's surprising. I didn't hear him say that either. That surprises me about him, because he is a super smart guy. And I don't know why you would think that SpaceX would fail. I mean, I'll admit, when NASA first, and the government first said they were going to transition a lot of the space flight operations to private companies, I was super skeptical at first. You know, the shuttle program was ending. They're like, we're going to transition things to the private entity. I was super skeptical, thinking like, how is this going to work? Like, private companies aren't going to, they're not going to invest in it and try to do all that. But I think, we mentioned in the last broadcast, I think it's almost a two-prong approach, and I'm actually kind of on board with this idea now, is that the private companies can really focus on the part that can be profitable and make money, where they're launching satellites for other companies, even for government entities, but for the so-called routine spaceflight stuff. They get the satellites into orbit, and they can do all this low Earth orbit stuff, and put things into geosynchronous orbit or geosynchronous transfer orbit. And if you can get the private companies to do that kind of stuff, the stuff that NASA's pretty much mastered, and they've done the low Earth orbit stuff. And now if you can get NASA to focus on the big stuff and the long-term stuff and the exploration stuff that really has no profit in it, and then they don't have to spend their money and their budget on the satellite launching stuff, then I think there's an area for both facets in our U.S. space flight operations. Let's see. Was that the moon on the right side? I wasn't paying attention. I was chatting away, so I didn't see if that. He was trying to. You won't like his opinions. He's trying to protect NASA. I wish I could go into low orbit, but I can never go because of health reasons. Oh, sorry to hear that, Streaky. I would love to go. I would love to go to space. I don't know. If I'm going to go to space, I don't like these suborbital flights that just go up and come back down. Like, if I'm going to go into space, I want to be like an astronaut. I want to go into orbit. I want to go around a couple times. Wave out the window when I go by. I I don't know. I don't want these suborbital flights. If you're gonna do space tourism, like let me go up there. Let me take like a week vacation in space or something. I don't know if I could do that for a week. I might go crazy, but at least let me spend a day in space or something. Not like these 2-hour flights you go up, come back down. Like, well, all right. Anyways, Neil didn't mention Falcon Heavy in his Twitter at all, and his first conference of a couple days later was negative towards SpaceX. Really? Huh. Now you got me curious. I'm gonna have to go look that up. That's really surprising. I don't know. I think SpaceX is doing some really exciting stuff, and I, for one, that is one of the things that really gets me excited and interested in all the space flight stuff. I mean, just look at today's launch. So we watched the ULA broadcast, and it was, we got to watch the rocket launch. Awesome, successful, fantastic. But I don't know, the content wasn't really that exciting. We kind of watched it for a little bit. Plus, we had the microphone issues, blah blah blah. But I don't know. They just don't have that wow factor, that excitement factor that SpaceX gives you when you watch one of their webcasts. So I don't know. I feel like that gets people excited. I think you got to get people excited about spaceflight. Otherwise, people forget about it and they deprioritize it and they don't think it's a big deal. So I don't know. I would like to settle on Mars. I don't know if I'll go to Mars. I don't want to go to Mars. You can go to Mars, Denise. I don't want to go to Mars. Private spaceflight has a bright future in transport, mining, and tourism. Yeah, I think if you could, private spaceflight companies, if they can do, well, even you look at BFR that wants to do Earth-to-Earth transportations. If you could somehow make that an easy and reliable system, that'd be awesome. I mean, I want to meet the person that wants to be. Hold on, we're gonna switch this around. I don't know why I need to be so tiny. You have to tell me if the audio still sucks, but it is what it is. Here we are now. The BFR doing the Earth-to-Earth missions, where they're basically turning into an airline company at this point, just going into space to transport people. I think that's exciting. What else we talk about? Mining. But yeah, if you can get natural resources from either one of the moons, or maybe it's Mars, or maybe, down the years, decades from now, if we have like constant flights heading back and forth to like Saturn's moons or Jupiter's moons or whoever's moons have natural resources to it, that would be fantastic. I don't know. I think that stuff is super exciting. And tourism, yeah, then you got the tourism aspect. I'm sure there are some people that will pay. Even SpaceX was looking at sending 2 people around the moon. I think that's more exciting tourism than the suborbital flights, kind of the just up and down, like, yeah. Let's see. Did you figure out how to mount the lobster for the balloon? No, I don't know how to mount the lobster yet. I haven't really thought much about it. Here's the lobster. I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I think, I don't know, it's his legs, the back legs are kind of tilted backwards, so I don't think I can mount them like that. I think I got to throw some like fishing line or some string around these legs. And then, I don't know, somehow, do I have like a, well, here's another microphone cable. This is what I'm thinking. It'll be with fishing line, not with a microphone cable, but I'm thinking I'm going to try to mount it with like fishing, I don't know how this is going to work. Something like this. Maybe spin this around here like that. I don't know. That's kind of the idea. Yeah, something like that. That's what I'm thinking about doing. And then we got to attach that to a boom arm. The only downside, it's going to like swing around, because this is what it would look like. It'd be like a boom arm from the top of the camera, is what we usually do. Have it out here off camera, and you attach like the top of it up here. The downside, yeah, so it's going to do that. That's what I got to figure out how to fix, because I don't want to be looking at the underbelly of a space lobster. I want it to stay like this. And I don't know how to make that happen. I mean, it kind of stays like that, but the box swings all over the place, and it's going to do like one of these things, and I don't know. I got to figure out how to make this a little more rigid somehow. But that's the idea. I think I'm going to want to hang him like that. I would like to, if I could figure out how to do it, maybe you could like offset this and hang it like, maybe so he's not straight up and down. You could do it like a little bit of an angle like this. What do you like better? The straight up and down, or you like the angle? I kind of like the angle better, a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you could do it at like this angle. You could do it sideways like this. I might even like sideways better. That's kind of cool. I don't know. So that's what I'm thinking. And then I just got to stop it from spinning somehow. Have it wrap around all the legs and have it on its side. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Streaky. Like up on its side like that. I think that would look better. You put it on the side like this maybe. That's what I'm thinking. It looks like a face grabber from Aliens. Yeah, see, I think that would... I think if I could get it like this and I could keep it from spinning, because it's going to be probably like fishing line so that you don't see the strings. But yeah, somehow I got to keep it from spinning. I like this. I like the sideways bit. That's what I'm thinking. And I just got to figure out how to keep it from spinning. So yeah, that's the Space Lobster going up on our weather balloon flight. The first one for the year, though, I almost did one this weekend. I was going to do one tomorrow, but I couldn't get the balloons here in time. We don't have our balloons yet for the year. Angle claws upwards. You think upwards on the claws? Oh, we might be able to do upwards. Somebody says upwards on the claws. Let me see. I missed a bunch of comments there. I'll go back to them here in a second. Weave it. Oh, weave it through. Maybe, yeah, maybe that'll keep it from spinning. If I just weave it through all the legs, that might work. Just weave it around like this. And somehow you could do it like upwards like that. You like the claws up better? Claws up or claws down better? I don't know what the difference is. That might, it might keep it from spinning like crazy. That could be. That could work, maybe. Let's see. And I don't know, if I have it upwards enough, I might be able to get like a support post here that I could hide from the camera that you wouldn't see, but that might keep it from wobbling around too much. I don't know, that's the idea. If you put it on horizontal, maybe we take a side shot with a lobster walking on Earth. Hashtag gyro stabilized space lobster. Yeah, we need a gyro state. See, the hard part with launching weather balloons is it's all about weight. The weight is really the hard part because you got to keep the weight down, but at the same time you need functionality. So it's hard to add things like gyros or because a lot of people our balloon flights, they spin around and the camera can get a little bit jostly, and it can be hard to add like gyros or something like that to keep it stabilized, because we've got really tight weight limits that we got to stay within. So so that's the hard part, is just being able to launch it and keep the weight down. So anyway, let me go back to some comments here that I missed. Did you figure out how to... Oh, wait, that's the one we just read. Yeah, Neil has always been negative towards SpaceX. He always does his rant about the West India Trading Company and how the government went first. Therefore, that is how it has to happen with Mars. I don't... Yeah, that's... I mean, I think government has a role to play in spaceflight. Don't get me wrong there. I think it has a role. But I don't think they have to be first, but I think the government really just has to be the funding source, if that makes any sense. Because you're not going to get private individuals to be like, yeah, here, let me give you some money so you can go play around and fly to Mars. That's essentially what taxpayers are doing. But the government has to be the one to decide that and say, we're going to allocate X amount of dollars towards space flights. But if SpaceX, I don't know, one of the problems with NASA over the last couple of years is that everything costs so much. And even if, I don't know, you look at the Orion program and the costs are getting so high, especially compared to Falcon Heavy. We don't really know what the BFR costs are yet, but if a private company can do it a lot less expensive, then I don't know, NASA may just become like the contracts procurement area for space flight and be like, they're just the experts that help figure out which private company is gonna run the mission. I I don't know. That's kind of how I see things operating. That's just me. Let's see. What else did we miss here? Have you done any calculations how many of your helium weather balloons you would need to put up a large enough payload close to space that you could then ignite a rocket to complete the orbit? I'm assuming you mean to put put something into orbit. I have not done any calculations for that. I don't think you still need a ways to go even after you get a helium balloon up. So our helium balloons only go to about 20 kilometers or 30 kilometers really above Earth, and really you got to go to like at least 100. Generally, it's more than that. I forget what the number is. It's like 100. What's space stations like 250? Is it 250 miles or kilometers? Yeah, I don't know. But you got to get to like generally like an orbit is going to be 160 kilometers, and our weather balloons are only going to about 30 kilometers. So you still got a ways to go to get something into orbit. But they do, not to say that rockets don't have a place with weather balloons. They do have what are called raccoons, which are like, they're usually like sounding rockets that go along with weather balloons. The weather balloons bring them up, and then they fire a raccoon that takes sounding measurements. Doesn't go into orbit, but it can get much higher if you launch a rocket at peak altitude. So, let's see. Do we want to listen? Anybody care about this press conference? What are they saying here?
We'll lift off from Cape Canaveral, Florida, and GOES will join GOES 16, which is how we renamed GOES-R once it launched, which was launched last November, November 16, as I mentioned, and NOAA 20, which just last November in 2017, NOAA launched to completing NOAA's new next-generation operational geostationary and polar orbiting satellite fleet. It's been a very busy 18 months or so for NOAA. If you go to the first video, please. When GOES 16, when it reaches orbit, GOES 16 will be known as GOES S will be known as GOES 17. It will become the GOES West operational satellite in late 2018, operating opposite of GOES 16, which is in the GOES East position. In the GOES West position, GOES 17 will provide coverage from for all the Western United States, Alaska, Hawaii, virtually the entire Pacific Ocean, Mexico, and Central America. Combination of GOES S in the West and GOES East gives you almost a hemispherical coverage of the Americas from West Africa to East Asia and all of the space in between.
All right, well, I guess I'm gonna pull that down here because that's just a replay. I was trying to listen in and see. This is a replay from earlier, I believe, so just wanted to see what they were saying. See if it was something of interest. I thought this was like a post-launch press conference or something. I wasn't really paying that close of attention, but I think it's a replay. I think it's a pre-launch meeting or press conference. So anyways, let's go back to talk. What were we talking about here? Weave it through. Yeah, we were talking about the lobster. Neil says it's impossible to predict the future and then does it. Okay. All hail the hashtag space lobster. Have it wrap around the legs and have it on its side. Looks like a favorite. That's a better angle. I think we read some of these. If you put it on horizontal, we read that. Claws up as if it was reaching for space. Interesting. Ironically, that idea of the West company is wrong. The East company was a private company, and only later the state did take charge. I don't really know anything about that kind of that comment there, so I don't know if I can speak intelligently on it. But all right, well, I think we're gonna get ready here to wrap it up. We are looking at oh, that's a nice picture of the GOES satellite imagery. Anyways, we are looking at doing our flights here starting soon. So generally we start in March. Today is March 1st, so it's getting pretty exciting. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be doing our flights very soon. I'll probably announce it on Twitter when we get to that point. Also, there's another SpaceX launch coming for the Hispasat. That is going to be no earlier than next week, I believe. They said they are planning on recovering the first stage booster for SpaceX on the next flight. At least they were. I'm assuming that's still the plan. but they had to call the recovery fleet back into port. It had been out there for a week, so they called them back in, which means that the next flight was for SpaceX is going to be at least next week sometime. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll probably try to live stream that as well. Hopefully I can sort out these audio issues, whatever the problem was. Hashtag Space Lobster is ruining my broadcast. It's making me angry. Will you be doing live launches for your balloons? Yes, we do live stream. That's kind of how we got started in the whole live stream stuff. We will be doing live streaming for our flights. So we don't have live footage from onboard the balloon while it's happening. Someday maybe. We're gonna work on that. But our flights just have they're like regular action cameras. They're like little GoPros, knockoff GoPros like this. They do have an SD card in them, but I can't stream this yet. Someday, I'm confident we'll get there. But at some point, we'll live stream the onboard footage. That would be pretty awesome. But for now, we don't have the budget for that. So we just put these guys on board, and then afterwards we get the footage when the flight lands. But we do live stream the coverage and the tracking and recovery operations. Sometimes that's half the fun, getting the launch going and getting the balloon off the ground. We definitely live stream that, and then we try to live stream our recovery efforts, which sometimes are good and sometimes are not so good. Pretty much how my entire operation goes here with the live streams. Sometimes they're good, sometimes we have things like audio issues today and they're no good. So it's just the way it goes. This new internet thing they have on computers sometimes it doesn't agree with me. Let's see. As private companies need somewhere to go first, governments fund the setup, then private companies monetize it. Yeah, I think that's kind of I think that's going back to the Neil deGrasse Tyson thing. Yeah, I think the governments do need to start with the funding operation, because if you don't have a clear, if you're a company, if you don't have a clear path to profit, then it doesn't make sense to go into that. So so a lot of times governments start the operations, and then once private companies see that there's a path to profit, then they go into it. So completely makes sense. Do you guys run summer camps for kids? We don't exactly have summer camps, but we're still a pretty small, young program. We're getting there. That's kind of the long-term goal. That's like the the couple years down the road plan. We are looking at we've got some local maker fests around here that we'll be starting with there. Our budget's pretty small for the year, so we don't have a very big budget. But we will be, we are branching out, trying to get more, I don't know, we've got lots of ideas for getting into, summer camps, or even like robot competitions and autonomous vehicle races and challenges, and, all kinds of like computerized technology stuff that we want to get kids into. We're starting with the weather balloon stuff. That's kind of where we're at the moment. And that generates a lot of interest, because you see, especially when we talk to students around here, we're like, yeah, hey, we send weather balloons to space and we get pictures and videos. Like, do you think you want to do something with it? They're like, what? Wow, never heard of such a thing. Or that's really, I've heard of such a thing, but I thought NASA did that. I didn't know we could do this here in our backyard. So we kind of the weather balloon thing really has a wow factor to it. But we do want to get into some of those other things, like summer camps or robot challenges, computer challenges, all kinds of stuff like that. So I think that's down the road, but that's the goal. That's where we're trying to get to. I think that would be a lot of fun to do some of that kind of stuff. Plus, for me, I was doing it on my own. I had my little robot here that I built. I got to come up with a name for it. We need a space lobster-ish type name for my robot, because he kind of looks a little bit funky. But there's my little robot that we built here, and I don't know, just been having challenges around the house, myself and the kids. But yeah, stuff like this, like you could throw this on some kind of track there and get it to do different challenges or races or things like that. I think that'd be a lot of fun for kids, right? Sounds fun. I think kids would be interested in that. I am. I'm just a big kid. So, that's what we're trying to do. All right, so it doesn't look like there's much going on here with the NASA TV and the ULA stuff. This is a little bit Mr. Steven 2 for the robot name. It's not a boat. I would go with Mr. Steven 2, maybe for the boat. We do want to build an autonomous boat. I've bin talking about that for years. Maybe we'll go with an autonomous boat at some point. But need some kind of car name to it. I don't know. Well, anyways, I think I'm going to wrap up here. Have you tried any experiments involving multiple simultaneously launched balloons? No, we had planned to do that last year, but we had some issues with our tracking computer that we had to get sorted out, and so that didn't work out last year. But if our tracking computer gets sorted out, then that's the plan for this year. We do want to have a couple of simultaneous balloon launches, because now we have multiple tracking systems. We got all these systems all built up, so we can launch multiple balloons at once, and it would be cool to see one balloon from the other balloon while they're flying if they stay relatively close to each other. I think it'd be awesome. So yeah, hopefully this year we can get a multi-balloon launch. We're going to try to get there if our tracking system behaves properly. So, all right, well, I'm going to wrap up for the day. Thanks for hanging around. Sorry about the audio problems. I don't know what happened. Hopefully, if you're watching this on a replay, it's not crazy off after the fact. I don't know what's going to happen. I might have to take the video down if it's all, I don't know. We'll see. But thanks for hanging around. This was fun. I love doing these things. I love talking to you guys. I love hearing all your comments. I love the hashtag Space Lobsters. So send me balloon races. Yeah, we'll definitely do stuff like that. Yeah, send me your comments on Twitter at OLHCN. Subscribe to the channel so we do some, because we're going to do some cool stuff coming up. In addition to these live commentaries, we'll be doing that as well. And, oh, Deborah, thanks for Deborah sent a tip. Thank you very much, Deborah. Appreciate the tip. I'm glad you guys like it. Glad you hang around. Even when I have audio issues like this, hopefully we try to make it fun, even when I'm stressed. So thanks for hanging around. Subscribe, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. And if you're really feeling generous, you can send us a donation. We're a 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization. You can go to overlookhorizon.com/donate, or you can also find us on the PayPal Giving Fund or Donor Box. We've got a Donor Box account as well. But we are a nonprofit charitable organization, so any donations made in the United States are 100% tax deductible. So you can get yourself a little tax benefit by making a donation to our educational group. We're trying to get kids and even adults interested in science and technology and excited about space flight and computers and coding and all that kind of cool stuff. Because it's never too late to stop learning. So if you're a kid, let's get you into science and technology. It's a lot of fun. And if you're an adult, let's get you into it too. You can do it. It's never too late. So anyways, thanks again for hanging around. Like I said, sorry for the issues on the audio, but I appreciate you guys hanging around. We'll check you again later. We'll see you again later. We're going to do another SpaceX broadcast. I think it'll be next week. No official date yet, but we'll let you know on Twitter once I hear the official date. And hopefully by then, got the audio fixed. So, I don't know. We'll see. All right. Hashtag Space Lobster, everybody. We'll talk to you guys all soon. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good day.